do you feel our field of curatorial curating has changed since 2020, since COVID?
Something that I've seen coming through more is considerations of care and burnout being a legitimate issue to look at as a subject. And I think practices have been changing since 2020. During the global pandemic, there was a lot of responses in how people did things to make it slower in some ways, but also very fast to respond.
Often we are, as you say, sifting through so much information. I think it's aided me in time to go slowly and to ensure that institutions can understand the pace at which things need to happen if they are to be done in a safe and careful way. And I think we need to move more towards understanding the therapeutic needs of accessing traumatic material, and how that needs to be something that is thought about prior to sending in researchers. And of course, with their choice to pursue those topics, there needs to be care provided.
Historically, especially when I first started in the art sector, that idea of care was very much seen in this very outreach on its own. It's a community facilitator, and it's all about outputs as well. It's not about conversation. The event itself is the output. You don't need to have this further kind of number crunching happening afterwards. It's actually part of the discourse, part of the daily activity of practice, which is really exciting.
I feel quite lucky that I've come into this sector at a point where quite a lot of the groundwork has been laid in terms of access and support, and I appreciate that these are things that people have been, fighting for a very long time.
In my research, I'm really interested in understanding from a language perspective, how do we talk about race and how do we talk about empire and how do we apply that to collections?
Some of the work we talk about in here is kind of museum practice from the 90s, from the 80s and 90s, where people have been really pushing for this, but I think often it will be like one person in an institution and then they retire and then it gets forgotten or glossed over, and we're in 2024 now, so what has changed?
University College Cork was founded as Queen's College Cork because at the time Ireland was part of the wider British Empire. And so for us, I think in Ireland, generally there's a sense of wanting to kind of revisit histories and to question some of those histories. And I think that sense of wanting now to encourage our own expression and intention within our cultural field must come alongside a need to remember and activate the histories, sometimes the very troubled histories, that relate to our colonial past.
I know that one thing that I found seems to be a lot more involved in curatorial work is aspects of co-curation and kind of community involvement. So I've got the book Undefining Queer, Growing the Constituent Museum, which was a project by the Whitworth, and they involved a group of 20 LGBTQ plus people to kind of work alongside them with the show. And I feel that there seems to be more of a focus on actually extending out that work rather than kind of staying in with our collections and just doing our own thing.
One of our main aim is to kind of how we can actually engage with the community. How can we become a very inclusive place where we can invite other people and then allow them to use this facility so that they can actually know the space, not as a museum, but we want to create it as a hub for culture and community. For example, I think if you think about Trafalgar Square in London, right? When you say you want to go to Trafalgar Square, that might be like you may want to meet a friend, or you just want to enjoy the sun, or you may want to actually go and visit the National Gallery as well, right? So it's a space where you can do multiple activities.
What I've learned from today is that the British Art Network not only enables us to connect, but enables us to articulate a way of being part of the network, but retaining our own identity. So that hybridity, that sense of the tribal differences that we can bring in to, I suppose, in a way, make the British part of the art network more plural, and that we move from this kind of homogenous sense of Britain wanting to impose an identity to suddenly becoming something which is welcoming and opening up to a diversity of identities that more truly expresses those histories that exist within British art practice and within the British Empire.